Hello everyone, welcome back to the MS Power Automate channel. Today we are going to discuss how to merge PDF files and how to split PDF files. Alright, let's get started. First, we are going to talk about how to merge PDF files. Right, in this example here, I have a folder which contains 5 individual PDF files. Let me just show you very quickly how does the PDF file looks like. Okay, this is the first file, second file, third file, fourth file, and fifth file. Right? So what I'm going to do is let me go to my designer, and it turns out that to merge the PDF file is relatively simple. First thing I need to do is I need to use the action get files in folders. Right? I will navigate to the folder that I have, which is merge PDF folder. And what it does is this action will retrieve all the files in this folder and store it inside this variable called files, which is essentially a list of file objects. Let me click the save button. And then the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to make use of the action merge PDF files, which you can find under the PDF actions. So let me drag and drop it into the main workspace. And the input parameter in this case, I will use my files variable. And I'll also specify what is the merge PDF path. So let me again go back to my folder. And let me call this file merge PDF file. And remember in this case to specify the file extension, which is .pdf. Let me click open. Right? And just to be safe, if the file exists, I will choose to overwrite the file and I'll click save. Now let me run this desktop flow. Done, right? So now if I navigate back to my folder, you can see that the merge PDF file has been created. And if I opened the PDF file, you can see that it contains the 5 individual PDF files which I've merged into one file. Sounds simple enough, isn't it? Now that we have learned how to merge PDF files, let us talk about how to do the reverse. How to split a single PDF file into multiple PDF files. In this example, I have a folder called split PDF. And inside my folder, I have a single PDF file called sample PDF file. If I open this PDF file, you can see that this PDF file contains 5 different pages. And what I want to do in this case is I want to split this into 5 separate PDF files containing 1 page each. Right? So let's talk about how we can do this using Power Automate Desktop. Let me go back to my desktop designer, and the first thing I will do is I will make use of this PDF action called extract PDF files to the new PDF file. Okay, so let me first specify the PDF file that I want to extract. And in addition, I will also need to specify which page do I want to do the extraction. Now, to make it simple, I will just specify that the page is the first page. And I will extract this page into a separate PDF file. And let me call this page1.pdf. Okay, remember to specify the file extension .pdf. Okay, and I would choose to overwrite the file if the file already exists. Right? Let me click save. And if I were to run this desktop flow now, you can see that it has successfully extracted the first page into a separate PDF file called page1.pdf. Right? So we are closer to our objective. but not yet, right? The next step I need to do is I will actually need to implement a loop, right? So under loops, I will use the simple loop and I will drag it into the workspace. And in this case, because I know that there are 5 pages in my PDF file, I will put the starting loop index to be 1, the ending loop index to be 5, and I will increment my loop index by 1 for every iteration. Then I will drag my PDF action into the body of my loop. And now I can remove the hard-coded value which I specified earlier and replace this value with my loop index. Likewise, I will also do the same for the extracted PDF file path. Instead of hard-coding the value to be 1, let me use the dynamic value loop index instead. Okay, so let's unpack this a little bit so that we kind of understand what is going on. In essence, what we are doing is we are actually looping through the PDF file 5 times, right? The starting loop index is 1, and for the first loop, we will extract the first page of the PDF file into a new PDF file called page1 or page loop index.pdf. For the second iteration, the loop index becomes the value of 2, and for this iteration, we will not extract the first page, but we will extract the second page, and we will save the second page into a new file called page2.pdf, and so on and so forth until we have completed 5 iterations of the loop, right? Let me click save. And now if I were to run this flow, you can see that the loop index has incremented from 1 to 5 as what we have described earlier. And if you look at my folder, now I have successfully extracted each of the individual pages into 5 separate PDF files. Sounds cool, right? Some of you more advanced viewer might ask me this question, right? Hey, in this case, we have hard-coded the loop to increase from 1 to 5 because we knew beforehand that the total PDF file contains 5 pages. What if we don't know how many pages does the PDF file contains? Well, that is a really, really good question, and it is something that we can actually find a solution to. Right? So in that scenario, assuming that I don't know how many pages the PDF file contains, what I would do is I would change the end loop index to an arbitrary large value. So maybe in this case, what I would do is I will change it to 100, for example. Let me click save. And additionally, what I will do is I will create a label under the flow control actions. Let me drag and drop the label to the end, and let me call this label out of bounds error, and click save. Right? And now let me go back to my extract PDF action, and under on error, I will specify that we will continue flow run, and I will choose the option go to label, and I will use the label which I've just created, which is out of bounds error. And I'll click save. Again, let's kind of go through what this means, right? So we know that now that we have increased the end loop index to 100, the loop will increase from 1 to 2 to 3, so on and so forth until it reaches 100. But because we know that our PDF file contains only 5 pages, when the loop index reaches the value of 6, when it tries to extract the page 6 of the PDF file, it will encounter an error. It will throw an error. And in this case, we have configured the exception handling such that when an error is encountered, it will jump to the label out of bounds error. And this is a very simple way for us to exit this loop and for us to continue processing if there are further actions to be performed. Right? So let me run this flow again, and remember to pay attention to the loop index counter over here. You will see that it will increase from 1 all the way to 6, and once it reaches the value of 6, it will actually cause the flow to terminate. Right, let's go. There you have it. Now we have successfully managed to split a PDF file into multiple PDF files without having to hard code the number of pages inside the PDF file. Alright, please do subscribe to the MS Power Automate channel to receive the latest updates on Microsoft Power Automate Desktop, including learning tutorials, tips and tricks. Thank you and have a great day.